After years away from television, Tim Allen made a powerful comeback in 2011 with Last Man Standing. But the road to getting there wasn't straightforward. Allen had already turned down enormous offers, including one from CBS that would have paid him $1 million per episode. What finally drew him to this particular show was control, along with starring in it. He was brought on as an executive producer with genuine influence over its creative direction. The show's creator Jack Burdett had envisioned Mike Baxter as a kind of evolved version of Tim the Toolman Taylor, older, wiser, and more politically outspoken. ABC had big ambitions for it too, positioning it as a modern take on All in the Family, with a conservative lead whose views would be constantly challenged by the people closest to him. They put it in the notoriously difficult Friday nighttime slot, betting that Allen's popularity would be enough to make it work. They were right. When it premiered in October 2011, over 13 million people tuned in, making it ABC's biggest comedy debut in years. Over 6 seasons, it averaged more than 8 million viewers per episode, which made what happened next all the more baffling. From the very beginning, the cast went through changes that kept viewers on their toes. In the first season, Alexandra Krosney played Kristen Baxter, the eldest daughter, a young single mom who had her son Boyd at 17 and was living at home while trying to piece her life together. Audiences connected with her immediately. Her quick-witted chemistry with Allen gave the show some of its sharpest early moments. But after that first season, ABC announced she wouldn't be returning. The official explanation cited creative differences, though the real reasoning ran deeper. The producers had decided to reimagine Kristen as a slightly older, more seasoned character who could push back on Mike Baxter's worldview with more authority. There was also a practical awkwardness. Krosney was actually younger than Molly Ephraim, who played the middle sister Mandy. Amanda Fuller, who was older than both, stepped into the role and brought a different energy that eventually found its footing with audiences. Meanwhile, the character of Ryan, Kristen's ex and the father of her child, went through his own transformation. When Nick Jonas appeared in a Christmas episode in Season 1, Ryan was portrayed as a nervous, immature teenager who had run away from his responsibilities. The appearance generated buzz, but the character had nowhere to go. When Tim Doyle took over as showrunner in Season 2, he saw an opportunity to turn Ryan into something far more interesting, a thoughtful, politically vocal counterpoint to Mike Baxter. Jordan Masterson stepped into the role in 2012 and delivered exactly that. His Ryan was smart, principled, and willing to stand his ground, giving the show a genuine ideological sparring partner for Allen's character. Over time, Ryan's arc grew into one of the show's more quietly satisfying threads, eventually finding him running his own cannabis business and, to Mike's endless amusement, slowly becoming the very kind of capitalist he had always criticized. Then came May 2017, and a cancellation that left almost everyone connected to the show feeling blindsided. ABC pulled the plug despite the show consistently delivering over 8 million viewers on one of the hardest nights of the week. The timing was impossible to ignore. Just 2 months earlier, Allen had appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live and made a provocative joke comparing life as a conservative in Hollywood to living in 1930s Germany. ABC's president insisted the decision was purely structural, claiming the network wanted to move away from comedies on Friday nights in favor of fantasy and science fiction programming. Few people found that entirely convincing. Hector Elizondo, who played Ed, suggested in interviews that politics may have quietly factored in. Tim Allen called himself stunned and blindsided on Twitter. Nancy Travis openly shared her heartbreak with fans. The younger cast members, Molly Ephraim and Caitlin Dever among them, quietly accepted that the show was over and began moving forward. The fans, however, were not ready to let go. Within a single day, a petition to save the show gathered over 400,000 signatures. Twitter was flooded with the hashtag #SaveLastManStanding. People sent toy tools to ABC's offices. Billboards went up in Los Angeles and New York. Even politicians weighed in, with Wisconsin's governor suggesting the cancellation had political motivations. Behind the network drama, there were real financial complications too. ABC was paying $3 million per episode because the show was produced by 20th Century Fox, a separate company with its own costs. Eventually, Fox began shopping the show to other networks, and in May 2018, just over a year after the cancellation, Fox announced it was bringing Last Man Standing home to its own network. The revival cost $50 million to launch, with each episode now running $1.1 million to produce. Tim Allen's salary rose to $235,000 per episode. Fox sold streaming rights to Hulu and CMT to help manage costs. The gamble paid off. The first season back drew 8 million viewers, with the premiere alone generating the kind of numbers that justified every dollar spent. But the revival came with casting casualties. Molly Ephraim had spent 6 seasons making Mandy Baxter one of the show's most beloved characters, but she had moved on the moment the cancellation was announced, signing on to new projects immediately. By the time Fox revived the show, she was already committed elsewhere and couldn't return. Producers replaced her with Molly McCook, a choice that initially sparked fierce backlash. The hashtag #NotMyMandy trended almost immediately. McCook's response was to simply ignore the comparison and build something new. She leaned into Mandy's passion for fashion design and pushed for storylines with emotional weight, including a memorable pregnancy arc. Gradually, sometimes reluctantly, fans came around, especially after her scenes alongside Allen demonstrated a genuine warmth that felt authentic rather than imitated. Caitlin Dever's journey was different. She had used the cancellation as a launchpad. Her role in Kathryn Bigelow's Detroit opened doors that led to Booksmart, then to the Netflix miniseries Unbelievable, which earned her Golden Globe and BAFTA nominations. By the time Last Man Standing returned, she was a genuine star with a schedule that made full-time commitment impossible. She transitioned to recurring guest appearances, with the show's writers cleverly sending her character Eve to the Air Force Academy to explain her absences. Video calls and carefully constructed episodes were used to keep Eve present even when Dever couldn't be on set. One episode, built entirely around Eve's relationship with her nieces, was crafted specifically around her limited availability and became one of the revival's most emotionally resonant moments. By the final season, she appeared in just 3 episodes, including the series finale, but her presence still carried real weight. Fox canceled the show in May 2020 after 9 seasons, even as it was still averaging 8.3 million viewers per episode and ranking as the network's second highest-rated comedy.